There are moments in life when you realize that the ending you feared is actually the beginning you needed for years. I was afraid of losing my family. I was afraid that if I stopped helping, stopped fixing, and stopped carrying everyone's problems, I would lose the people I loved. But what I finally learned was this: a relationship that only survives because one person keeps sacrificing is not a relationship built on love. It is built on dependence, and I was tired of being needed only when someone needed something from me. After everything came out, I expected anger, I expected blame, I expected people to tell me I had changed, and maybe I had, but not in the way they thought. I did not become cold, I did not stop caring. I simply stopped forgetting myself. For the first time in many years, I allowed myself to think about my own happiness, not as a mother, not as a helper, not as the person everyone could call when life became difficult. Just as Claire, a woman who had spent decades building a life, a woman who survived losing her husband, a woman who worked for almost 40 years, a woman who gave more than most people ever knew. I started spending my mornings differently. Instead of waiting for a phone call that might never come, I walked along the California coast. I watched the waves. I listened to the ocean. I remembered Daniel. He always loved the ocean. He used to say that the waves were proof that even after everything falls apart, something beautiful can still return. At the time, I thought he was talking about the ocean. Now I understand he was talking about life, because after everything I lost, I found myself again. A few months later, Ethan reached out. And for the first time in a long time, I saw something different. Not excuses. Not demands. Just someone trying to understand. I knew one conversation could not erase years of pain. I knew apologies could not bring back all the moments I missed. The birthdays. The holidays. The memories I should have been part of. But I also knew something else. Holding onto anger forever would only keep me connected to the pain, and I did not want my future to be controlled by what happened in my past. So I listened. I remembered the little boy who used to hold my hand, the little boy who needed his mother, the little boy who became a man and made mistakes. Because forgiveness does not mean pretending nothing happened. Forgiveness means choosing not to let the hurt own you. I also learned that family is not only about who shares your blood. Family is about who respects you, who sees you. Who values your presence. And sometimes creating a peaceful life means accepting that some people may only be part of certain chapters. Not every person who enters your story is meant to stay until the final page. My relationship with Ethan slowly changed. Not overnight. Not perfectly, but honestly, we started rebuilding something new. Something based on truth instead of obligation. And that was enough. As for Patricia and Madison, I stopped carrying anger toward them. I no longer needed them to admit what they had done. I no longer needed them to understand my pain, because I finally understood something important. My value was never determined by whether someone appreciated me. I had value before I helped them. I had value while I was helping them, and I still had value after I stopped. The biggest lesson of my life came from the hardest chapter. I spent years trying to prove that I was a good mother, but I never needed to prove it. The sacrifices I made, the love I gave, the life I built, those things were real. Even if someone failed to recognize them. Today, I still live in my little house near the California coast, the same house where Daniel and I dreamed about the future, but now it represents something different. It is not a reminder of what I lost. It is a reminder of what I survived. I keep the old photographs, I keep Daniel's watch, I keep the memories, but I no longer live in the past, because life does not end when someone walks away from you. Sometimes That is the exact moment when you finally walk back toward yourself. My story was never really about a house. Or a signature, or money. It was about learning that love should never require you to disappear. And if there is one thing I hope someone remembers from my story, it is this: never become invisible trying to be everything for everyone else. Your kindness matters, your sacrifices matter, your life matters, and even when others forget your worth, you must never forget it yourself. This was my hidden chapter. And now it has finally been told. Welcome to Life's Secret Pages, because every life has a story waiting to be revealed.